Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and today I saw the new Guillermo del Toro, I'm probably not saying that first name right, horror movie Crimson Peak, and, the plot of this movie is, it's about a woman played by Mia Wasikowska, I sure hope I'm saying that right, who meets Tom Hiddleston and his sister played by Jessica Chastain, and she ends up falling in love with Tom Hiddleston, gets married to him, and ends up moving to his manor, his England manor. And then she seems to be haunted by ghosts who seems to be trying to warn her of something. So that's the movie. I know a lot of people were excited for this movie, considering this is Del Toro, and he's made such great movies. Like he made like Hellboy 2, and like he made in Pan's Labyrinth is like Hellboy 2 is really great. I would say is a great movie, but like Pan's Labyrinth, that's like a masterpiece of the ages. So I know a lot of people were still excited for this movie, and I know it's been getting a lot of mixed reactions, for this movie, and let me get into this because I think there's a lot to say about this movie. What was the good of this movie? Well, I'm gonna try and say this name one more time, but I'm gonna be, Mia Wasikowska, sure hope I'm probably not, but I hope I'm saying that right, as the lead, lady. She was really great in this movie. Well, one, she certainly looked gothic Victorian through this movie. She just certainly, like, it didn't look like she was someone from the modern day at all in this movie. She looked like she was right at home in in her role, so she certainly looked the part. But besides that, though, she was really likable. You did care about her. You wanted to see her get through this terrible situation. She was really good looking, confused, and terrified throughout this movie, and that and that and let me and her other most notable lead is she was Alice in the Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Let me say right now, if you didn't like her in that movie and thought she was really bland like I did, just know she is great in this movie, and I'll just put the blame now on not on her for that movie, but the script, because no one was very fun in that movie, but. She was a great lead. Thought she did a great job from beginning to end. One of the better horror leads I saw this year. That Tom Hiddleston Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was also great. He certainly looked the part as like kind of like a good-looking, like very charming and like but mysterious guy. Like you're not supposed to like get a full grasp on. He certainly looked the part. But not only that, he played the part well. He probably had the most interesting character in this movie, just for the fact that the character arc his character has, and he pulls off the character arc great. Like the way he changes through the movie is actually really interesting, and you really do believe it. And there's like a scene like when he does something to one of the side characters. Like at first you're thinking he's going one way, but then like when you like it shows like how much like his character has changed, and like you could see like the double meaning what they were talking about. Like he really does pull it off, and he was a very three-dimensional character because of that. So he did a great job, Tom Hiddleston. And finally, Jessica Chastain as his sister. She was a treasure in this movie, Jessica Chastain. She was so gleefully and wonderfully creepy from being in the end to end in this movie. Because really, like, when was the last time like we've gone like just a person as like the main like the main antagonist in a horror movie? Not really, like, since most of them are usually just ghosts or a demonic presence nowadays. Like, she was great, Jessica Chastain, because, like, it's just for the fact she always plays, like, usually such stern characters. Like, it's the fact that she is really stern it does feel like she's channeling that kind of performance again. But it's the fact that you always get the feeling there's something off about this woman, and you're always waiting for her to snap at any single second. Anytime she snaps, it is terrifying when she snaps. I was like, she was so creepy from beginning to end this movie, and she was never over the top, because like if she was like out of her mind the entire movie, oh, and if you want to say that's a spoiler, she's like crazy, trust me, it's not like they try to hide that in this movie from the moment you see her. But like But she like, cause like if she was like playing like a crazy person, she would have been over the top. But the fact that she's always seems somewhat of sound mind, just something's off about her, and you just know she can snap if you say the wrong thing to her, is what makes her just so creepy from beginning to end. This movie, Jessica Chastain just scared me. I found so terrifying in this. So good on her. The movie was good, being intense at times. At times, like I said, Jessica Chastain's great, and that there some of the violence in this movie. I know this movie has been being called like very violent, and I will say this: like it's not like over the top violence. It's not something like your Saw movies when the violence are just like, made to look like as over the top and gory as possible. No, but the violence looks real in this movie. That what makes it so unpleasant. Like there is one kill in particular in this movie, like near the end, that just had like my entire audience like just gasping in terror of just the sight of it, because it isn't gory, just such a terrifying thought of just and how realistic it looks. It's just fantastic. So yeah, there's that. The violence is really brutal in this movie. That and the entire climax as a whole just had me. I was white knuckling during it. It was really great, the climax. So yeah, the movie was good, being intense, and the plot has a few interesting twists and turns. There are some plot points I was not able to call in this movie, and I'll give the movie credit for that. And let me say this: this is a gorgeous, just gorgeous looking movie from beginning to end. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I know the Academy like hates nominating horror movies for awards. I'd be so shocked if this didn't get like a nomination for like either production design or costume design, because the costumes all look wonderful in this movie, especially on the leading lady. She looks great from beginning to end. Like I said, she looks like she's Victorian for me, Gothic Victorian from beginning to end, and what's her name? That and just the production design. This is such a beautiful set, the main house in the movie. It is so many small details, so many like creepy touches. Like I love the visual of like, it's supposed to be there's a giant hole in the roof, and like when it starts snowing, there's like you just see like them walking around like the staircase in the center room, like, and you just see snow falling down this one circular spot. That's a great visual, and like the visuals of like the blood, the red clay on the snow, like make it look like blood is just like a very beautiful and creepy looking at the same time. This is just a gorgeous looking movie. This is like some of the best production design I've seen all year. Like it's up there like with Tomorrowland, like during the sequence when like the characters like traveling looking through Tomorrowland. Like this was just so visually pleasing to the eye. So and creative at the same time. So wonderful job there. And and I'll say this: you simply just don't get a movie like this anymore. Like, I can't remember the last time we got like a big budget for horror movie standards. Like, I think the budget of this was like 55 million. But just to give you an idea, the budget for like most Paranormal Activity movies and like Unfriended and all that were like $1 million. So most are made for like $1 million or less nowadays, because most of them are just found footage movies, because they can be made so cheap as possible. So if it doesn't do very well financially, it has so little to make back. It doesn't have an issue of making that money back. But yeah, so you should know. It's been so long since we got a movie like this, just this really gothic, really stylized horror movie. Like, the last one I can really think of off the top of my head was the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow, and I can't think of another one besides that. I can't. It's been so long since we just got a tribute to like the Hammer age of like horror movies, like with like the Dracula Hammer films, like this very like wonderfully designed, very like stylish, like everything from the blood to the color contrast to the sets and everything, like just looking like this stylized and interesting. Like it's been. I can't remember, like, besides Sleepy Hollow, I can't remember the last time we had a movie like this. So I'll give this movie credit. You simply just do not get a movie like this anymore, and I did enjoy seeing a movie like this again in theaters, so I'll give this movie credit for that. But where's the bad of this movie? Because I can understand why this is not getting the best of reviews. or at least getting it was a polarizing movie at the least. Well, one, this is pretty minor, but even though I thought the production design of this movie was fantastic, the one piece of production design I did not like was it's supposed to be is the red clay when it would leak through the walls and it would be like in the back of shots. I'd be like, that looks it just didn't look very interesting or very cool looking. Like, it kind of made me laugh because it just made me remind me of the SpongeBob episode with like the walls will lose green slime. Oh wait, they always do that. Like, I almost wanted someone to say that just for the main character to say to Tom Hiddleston, it's like the walls they're leaking red slime, and just Tom Hiddleston they're like, oh don't worry, they always do that. Like, I was almost expecting for them to say that. Like, it looks kind of odd. That there were some scenes of the characters just being idiots. There is one scene in particular where one character confronts Tom Hiddleston, Jessica Chastain, and you'll literally just be grunting like, you fucking idiot, why are you saying this? Like, why would you do this? Like, you'll just be groaning so hard, and, but these are the two huge issues of the movie I'm about to say right now. One, this movie could get really repetitive. Like, a huge chunk of this movie is the main character being woken up in the middle of the night, grabbing your candlesticks, walking down the hallway, following a noise, seeing a ghost, scare, goes back to bed next morning. That is like a third of this movie is literally just that one scene being repeated over and over again. I'm like, it gets really repetitive and really distracting after a while, so that was a really big issue for me, but this is the hugest one. This is just such and I'm surprised by this one, but there is no, and I mean absolutely no reason this had to be a ghost story. There's none. You could not defend that this had to be a ghost story, and don't you dare say what the movie said again and again for Del Toro. Like, if Del Toro fans who tried to defend this, it was just they keep saying in the movie it's supposed to be the main character's a writer, and she like adds a piece of a ghost. There's like a ghost in the story she's writing, and they're like, well, what's the point of the ghost? And then they're like, oh, it's not the main point isn't the ghost, it's symbolic. They say that again and again because they knew that audience would be like, why is this a ghost story exactly? Because there is no reason, and even though they say that, there is still no reason this had to be a ghost story. The ghosts actually detract from this movie because one, they were they were completely inconsequential to the plot. I know they were symbolic. They had no point, though. You could have so easily, with the slightest of a script edit, cut out every single ghost to this movie, and you would have lost nothing. Like, actually, I think you would have gained some terror if you cut them off. Because one, all the ghosts looked really overdone. They're all really obvious CGI. And because of that, just like anytime they were on screen, knowing how inconsequential they were to this movie, anytime the main character saw them, I can almost just see Del Toro just holding his sign, just saying, be afraid right now. And I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of this thing because it didn't look scary. It looked silly to me. And that's a huge issue in a horror movie. That is, well, one, the fact that the ghosts have no purpose is a huge plot issue. But the fact that they're the main scare for like a third of this movie, and they're not the least bit scary in a horror movie, that's huge. I think they scared me once in the whole movie. It wasn't the fact that it was the sight of the ghost scared me. It was just the way the scene was edited. I thought, like, when it showed up was kind of creepy. But that's it. The fact they just looked silly. They weren't scary. And you could just see Del Toro just holding a sign like, be afraid, when they were on screen. And they weren't. They weren't scary, and they had no reason to be there. And you'll be groaning after a while anytime they show up. So so for those who wanted this to be the next Pan's Labyrinth, Jesus knows this is not the next Pan's Labyrinth. But I will say this about this movie. If I had to rate this movie on pure entertainment value, like what this got out of me, like, I'd say this was like above mediocre. Like, I'd say this was a decent, enjoyable horror movie, because like the cast was great, and the cast was just great. They did a great job, and like I said, like Jessica the main character lead was a great lead. Just it was so wonderfully creepy, and Tom Hiddleston, he had a really interesting character. So I'd say this transcended being mediocre. This is actually decent and good, but I will say for the fact, like I said, you simply do not get a movie like this anymore. And this movie did come out, and I saw in theaters, and it did. This was such a stylized and beautiful looking movie. I'm going to give this movie extra credit for that. So, final rating for Crimson Peak is for me, is a 3, with extra credit, is a 3.5 out of 5. On the whole, I would say I really liked it, I guess, because, like I said, the movie itself, it's a decent horror flick, but it's just the fact that you never see a horror movie like this nowadays, and the fact that this was made, like, is very interesting, and I did really like seeing a horror movie like this. So yeah, sorry this review is kind of all over the place, but that's kind of the movie. It's kind of all over the place, place itself. So yeah, I'd say go see it if you're a horror fan. Don't expect the next Pan's Labyrinth, but I would say it's definitely worth a watch. Definitely better than The Gallows. Still though, I'd still say It Follows is definitely the best horror movie I saw this year. So, take that for what it's worth. YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.